Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa, and it's an absolute honor to welcome to the show Basma Hameed. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You are truly a pioneer in your field.
Thank you.
Thank you for the light you've done and the transformation you've given and touched so many men, women, and people who are recovering and want to live their best lives.
Thank you.
So thank you.
So
for
Basma,
that.
you have a story where you actually you went through a transformation where you put tattoos over your scars to help with the coloring.
Correct.
Tell us about what actually, take us back to the actual event and what happened.
Right. So when I was 2 years old, I was playing in the kitchen with my brother. I was 2 and he was 6 at the time. So he was like, let's go and surprise mom and dad. Let's make them something. So what he did, he took a frozen chunk of meat and he put it in a pan filled with boiling oil. So fire started. And he got nervous, so he was trying to take the pan over to the sink. He tripped on top of me, and the oil ended up spilling down half of my face. So from there, what ended up happening is that you go through a very long journey of non-stop plastic surgery, right? Everybody was trying to reconstruct my scars, but it was extremely difficult because as a child to go through that, like from 2 years old, for 15 years, you go through non-stop surgeries to try to like have the hope that one day it's gonna be back to normal. So it was a lot, you know, for a child.
Think about your brother. I'm sure you guys are all good, and I just want to say a prayer for both you guys, and that was such an intense.
It really was, but I feel like that brought our family really close together. You know, I feel like sometimes you're always being tested in life and things happen to either it breaks you or makes you. And it definitely made my family get so much, they're so protective, extremely protective, and we're extremely tight.
Wow, it's just profound. You know, my work is really in positive psychology, and one of the things that we know from science is that with most adversity, even though post-traumatic stress disorder is what really gets all of the focus, most people experience post-traumatic growth after even the most adverse circumstances, and you're such a sort of living, shining example of that.
Thank you.
That resilience, where's that come from? Is that your family? Do you have a very resilient family?
I think it's time. Everything, I wouldn't say like it happened immediately, because you do go through a process of pain and hurt and the why me, especially at a young age, because it happened so young. So psychologically, I didn't really understand it, but with time, and you start to hear other people's stories and you start to connect and you say, well, yes, I have a 3rd-degree burn on my face, but I'm still here. So you start to kind of educate yourself, and that's how it all came about.
Wow.
At what point did you decide, you know what, I am going to be a pioneer in this field. This is going to be the direction and the purpose for my life.
Right. Okay, I would tell you this. So when I used to go, every time I was in the hospital and I would hear babies crying or adults that have gone through accidents, I always wanted to do something that's gonna make a difference. And I didn't really know what. And I just wanted to make people feel good. And so when I was like around 15 years old, I went to see my plastic surgeon, and I said, I still had a lot of red discoloration, and I only had one eyebrow because I lost my left eyebrow during the accident. And I said, what can I do next? And he's like to me, just take your money and go on a vacation, you know, like hopefully like that's gonna help, right? You know? And I thought, there has to be something. There has to be something out there. So I asked him, I said, what do you think about permanent cosmetics? Can I get my eyebrows tattooed? And because I had already done 3 hair transplants to my eyebrow and they weren't successful. And so I asked him, and he's like, it's not gonna work because it's scar tissue. It will never accept the color. So that's what ended up happening. That day, I made the choice to move forward with permanent cosmetics. I thought, I have nothing to lose, so why not? When I got my eyebrows tattooed, I saw how the scar tissue actually picked up the pigment. So pigment can actually survive in scar tissue. And from that moment, I thought, since I was a child, I was wearing foundation. I was trying to always find a way to cover up the scar. So I thought, you know, why don't we just use skin tone pigments and implant that pigment in scar tissue? So that's
Wow.
the idea.
And how did it make you feel?
At that time, I mean, I was okay because, again, I didn't have anything to lose. So I'm like, I want to give it a try. It was so exciting for me. But everybody that I approached was so scared. They're like, listen, you already have a burn on your face. We don't really want to get into this. Everybody was so scared. Then what I ended up doing, I started apprenticing with a permanent cosmetic artist. And during that time, I was 16, 17. It would be a Friday night, and I would like take the machine and I would start working on my own face. And just to see, and I thought, okay, like after a month or so, I started seeing a little bit of improvement. So the discoloration started going from red, like that pink red tone, to started toning down.
Wow.
What an amazing story. What a unique,
Thank
you couldn't take a more profound spiritual lesson of like the hardest thing you've gone through becomes like something that you're helping people that no one else has pretty much figured out. It's so amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was telling you, I always wanted to do something to help people, but I never thought it would get to this level. I never thought it would get this big. And it went from me sharing my story to everybody would come up to me and say, listen, I have this burn or birthmark or any type of skin discoloration that they've struggled with. They started to come up to me and say, can you try? And I was always honest. I'm like, listen, I don't know what's gonna happen, but if you're willing, same thing. If they're in the same position as me, that they wanna give it a try, then we move forward.
Wow.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the clinic you've created and the services you offer.
So originally, I'm Canadian. I started off in Toronto. And from there, my story started getting bigger and bigger. So it went a little viral. And we started having people like write to us and telling us their stories and how they needed help. So I started taking on bigger cases. So somebody who has a full like port wine stain on their full face, where they've tried everything that the medical community can offer, nothing has worked. So I've taken on some really major cases, and I saw how the transformation you can get someone who is so insecure, can never make eye contact, and you can see within a matter of months, like few months, they come in and they're brand new person. Like I don't know who they are anymore, and it's so amazing to see that transformation.
Just incredible. It reminds me of that quote, necessity is the mother of invention.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you're just a case in point of that. I mean, what an incredible case study. What would you say you've learned in the process sort of about business and about sales?
Business and sales, I think if you truly believe in what you do, success will come. And a big part of it, I never went to business school, so I don't really know a lot about that, but I believe everything I've done is from the heart. And that gave me that opened up so many doors for me, like even to be here right now, right? So it's just being as authentic as possible, being true to yourself, never have to kind of fit in. So even when I cover up scars every single day or birthmarks, I tell everybody that I still have my scar. I still carry it with me every day. So it's not like it's gone forever, but what I can do is at least give you can hear my story, that little bit of hope. And what we do is just a little bit of improvement that keeps you motivated and keeps you going.
Such great advice. Oh my gosh, I love your story. That's amazing. So touching that anything's possible. And I'm so glad your family has come closer through all this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We hope to have you back and hear more about the journey of transformation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in Good Morning La La Land.